Okay, a warm welcome and a wonderful evening to one and all present here. BITSAA Chennai is the association for BITSians who pursued education from any of the campuses, Pilani, Hyderabad, Goa, and Dubai, residing in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, or their heart resides here. We organize a host of events all around the year, meetups, annual dinners, fitness events, knowledge sessions, and fun events. And BITSAA Chennai's the next big thing is an exclusive event to showcase our BITSian startups. As most of you are aware, today we have with us Vikram Subburaj, CEO and co-founder of Giottus cryptocurrency exchange. But before we go ahead with the session, I would like to invite someone very special who will be our host for the day, Hari Krishnan. Quick intro about Hari Krishnan. Hari is a 98 2002 Pilani batch alumnus. Hari is an entrepreneur turned VC turned entrepreneur. After co-founding a startup called Schoolmate in 2004 and selling it in 2011, he spent the last 6 years as a venture capital at A-Star Ventures, where he invested in the likes of FarmEasy, which is a unicorn, Rapido, which is again up and coming largest bike taxi in India, and Live.ai, which was recently acquired by Flipkart. And he currently is the director in an investment advisory firm called Untitled Chapter. Hari, the stage is yours, and we'll get started.
Hari, we can't hear you.
Hari, you're muted.
Yeah, the usual Zoom mistake that we do, talking on mute. Great, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks, Vignesh, for the nice, lovely introduction. I'm here to introduce even, energetic person and someone who's going to help us today understand the world of crypto. Vikram. Vikram, thanks for joining us. Vikram is the founder and CEO of Giottus, one of the fastest growing top few exchanges in the country. And Vikram, welcome again to the talk. And Vikram, why don't you sort of give a small introduction about yourself before we begin?
Okay. So first, thanks Hari and Vignesh for inviting me for this session. I think this is the first session I'm doing in the BITS Alumni Forum. It's really happy and exciting to be a speaker in the session, so thanks for that first. So I was at 2004, 2008 BITS Dubai pass out. So after that, I was working in Dubai as a business intelligence consultant, and then okay, I think I'll move on a couple of years ahead, and in 2017 I started Giottus. So Giottus is a cryptocurrency exchange where you can buy and sell your cryptocurrencies. Me along with my co-founder, who's my close friend from IIM Calcutta. So I did my PG in IIM Calcutta. So we both started this exchange in 2017. It's been 3 years, a lot of action, something or other keeps happening in the crypto space. So it's a very exciting journey we've had. Now, Giottus has somewhere close to 2.7, close to 3 lakh customer base. That's what we've grown to in these 3 years. So before Giottus, I was with Amazon. I was handling their European market first, then I was handling their Indian market as a category manager. It was during this time when the crypto bug bit me, and then I thought that okay, now is the right time to jump in. Yeah, Hari, I think that's a quick
Great.
intro.
No, the crypto bug bit you quite early, and we are all hoping that it will bite us as well today or sometime in the near future. Great, amazing, Vikram. Good to see someone coming from a Amazon sort of a background into creating a crypto exchange, right? So we'll sort of come into some interesting aspects of how that's sort of shaping up the way Giottus is being built by Vikram and his co-founder. Before that, I just wanted to sort of give a little bit of a opening remarks from why we are trying to understand crypto, right? At least from my side, I was sort of reflecting back on is this crypto thing. I mean, I've been watching it from the sidelines for the past maybe 5 years, right? Like maybe Bitcoin was $1,000 or even less than that, right? At some point in time. That's actually the time I was thinking $1,000 looks like so much to pay for one Bitcoin. Let's see, let's wait, watch it from the sidelines, etc. Right? And it's crossed 50 times, 60 times, right? In the last 5 years, right? And okay, hey, wait, there is something happening. Let's look at it closely, right? So that's the first sort of wake up call in that sense, right? So as we see, just reflecting back, I was sort of drawing parallels. I was reading some people, Balaji Srinivasan, etc., folks who know the crypto space, doing some active work in the space for a few years. People liken this to 1990s of the internet world, right? So when you look at how early 90s or early internet days looked like, they were all, binary. They were all black and white screens, DOS screens and whatever, right? Fortran, and your command prompt is the world, right? Like, I mean, that's how everything looks, which common man doesn't relate to. Common man thinks, it's some geeky niche thing that's happening. Only some, geeks in the tech world understand, and probably it's not for the common man. It won't touch our lives. It's not important, not material. Ignore it, right? It's too small, right? But then we saw how internet really became relevant. It became a large enough universe, and then it became part of our lives. Right, today we just can't imagine lives without internet, etc. Right, so that's the parallel, right? I'm just seeing that cryptocurrencies or blockchain generally, I mean, cryptocurrency per se is the internet of money in that sense, right? And today it is a little geeky. I mean, there are a lot of jargons which we don't understand, and frankly, we don't need to understand too much of nuts and bolts, right? Like, why do we even bother to understand, let's say, how a IP server works? What is the protocol? What is HTTP in an internet era? That's the base layer, right? And then on top of it, people build applications and UX, which is more common man sort of relevant, right? So similarly, we see that's the trajectory that crypto is going to take, and at some point in time, we will all understand it will become so easy and sort of mixed in our daily lives. Today, it's a parallel universe, right? Very early stages of a parallel universe, which is growing. For example, it's touched the crypto market cap has touched $2 trillion, right? Which is not ignorable, right? Like, and when you look at the world GDP, it's somewhere closer to $100 trillion. So even now, I mean, if let's say a significant part of the finance shifting to, let's say, crypto world, I think there is still a long way to go, right? The whole world GDP will probably go from 100 trillion to maybe 200 trillion in the next 10 years, right? And then take 10-20% of that. That's probably going to be, anywhere between 20 trillion to 40 trillion of crypto GDP, if you will, right? And right now it's 2 trillion GDP to a 30-40 trillion GDP. There is still another 10-20x sort of journey that's ahead. And we thought, I think that's the global context I wanted to sort of set, because that's important to know that why crypto is interesting, why this world is interesting, why is it going to be relevant for all of us, right? And then I'll also ask the same question to Vikram, and then we will slowly go to what in crypto, and then how do we participate, right? So the why, the what, and the how. I think broadly this is what I thought we'll cover, and maybe what I'll do is I'll give a layman's perspective from what I know, and then I'll get an expert perspective from Vikram, probably for the three questions. Uh, Vikram, why crypto world? Why do you think some of us or all of us should be sort of really looking at it, maybe participate in it? Uh, Better
So,
late than.
yeah. So let me uh, give you the perspective of the founder of Bitcoin, right? So why he wanted to create a Bitcoin, right? Now, in the first ever block that was mined in Bitcoin, right now, just for sake of it, don't try to understand what a block is, what mining is, or anything. Let's just keep it for the sake of the argument. The first Bitcoin, when it gotten generated, the founder or the guy who got it to life, it's a guy or a group, Satoshi Nakamoto, he put up a phrase there, it's a news that came in the newspaper that day. He had just put that phrase there. Basically, the government was trying to liquidate, or it was trying to safeguard a bank which was going bankrupt, right? So that was the headline, right? So this is the basis of which he thought that, okay, there is something that is needed for the world, and he thought he'll launch Bitcoin. Okay. Now, if we see, now a lot of products has gotten innovated, right? So be it your the headphone you're using, it used to be wired, or now it's all wireless. Now the Bluetooth is getting all smaller. If we start seeing the innovation that has happened in money, you will see that, okay, one of the biggest innovation that was happened is from the olden days. If I take, lending was one really big innovation. Even before that, if I take what all bigger innovations happened, is coming into a fiat, coming into a currency, right? Money, which was much more in the form of a gold or a seashell or salt. Uh, it moved towards a paper currency, which could be easily traded, easily moved, and everything. Now, after that, the internet money came in, fractional reserves and all those systems came in. Now, in the recent years, if I see what is the big innovation that has happened in money, is maybe credit card. Apart from that, there is all only network level innovations. When I mean network level innovation, it is UPI, IMPS, RTGS. Basically, you're able to do things faster. Money has not gotten innovated much. The network in which the money is flowing, right? Only that is getting innovated. Now, when we think further into this, right now, previously all these currencies were gold backed. You need to have the gold reserves, and only to that level you can print the money. Now, in 1971, most of you would know about the Nixon shock. Nixon, the US president, he came in and said that, boss, I'm not going to just wait for accumulating gold to print US dollars. I'm US, right? So I'm just going to close my eyes and start printing, as much as I want. Now, this is when the fiat market started, the fiat currency as we know it. Now, none of the government in the world, not even one government in the world, prints its currencies based upon what reserves they have, either gold or any reserve they have. So the one of the major question that when I ask people is, do you know how much a country can print in a given point of time? The answer is as much as they want, right? It's up to their will. This COVID is a really big example of how much liquidity that has been infused by the Indian RBI and even by the US Fed. Trillions and trillions have been infused into the system. Now, when such measures happen, what happens to our investment, which is lying as INR, right? When new liquidity is being injected into the system, it brings in inflation, right? Now, when my investment is not going to be inflationary proof, what should I do? We generally go towards finding something which is inflationary proof. What is the usual thing we do? We go buy gold, right? When this COVID scenario started, you would have found a lot of people. You would have seen the gold prices were skyrocketing, but I don't know. In the last 6 months, the gold price has started going down now. But this is the usual thing. What we do, we try to find a inflationary proof asset. Now, this particular problem was taken up by Satoshi Nakamoto, and he tried to see if he can mathematically solve it. Now, what if you create something which mathematically is inflationary proof? In the sense, at any given point of time, if I'm saying this substance has got only X amount of supply, it will not break that. Now, you buy gold, gold has got a demand and a price because the new gold that is being unearthed or dug up from the earth, as a percentage of the gold which has been dug up, it's very, very minuscule. So on the other sense, the new gold that can be added to the current existing gold is very less. So that is why your gold is having some value. Now, if tomorrow suddenly, let's for sake of argument, say Elon Musk lands in Mars and he's able to dig up a lot of gold there, your gold price are going to crash like anything because you just found new supply there, right? Now the problem what he tried to solve is, now he wanted to create a particular product which is inflationary proof, in the sense the supply is limited and which is self-governed. The algorithm will govern itself. Now, why is that a problem? Why should it be self-governed, right? We've been governed by the government, we've been governed by the governing body. Haven't they done a good job? The answer is time and again, they've not done a good job, right? Every 10 years, we get a shock in the financial market, right? Now, the best example is what, if I take example of a bank, right? Now, if any one particular person in any bank organization, any organization wants to do some mischievous thing, right? He can go ahead and do it. Now, for example, a lot of frauds that we're seeing in banks and everything, right? Now, when there is a centralized body, a centralized system, you are putting all your trust for that centralized system to work perfectly. Now, he took this problem and he put it in a way that now let it not be a centralized system. The system will be governed by, again, algorithms, and he has decentralized this problem. And the much important assumption he took is, even if there is a bad actor in the system, no one can do anything wrong in this network, right? So this is the assumption he took, and he built in a product and launched it. Now, when you take Bitcoin, right, it's a bit tough to understand, just because it kind of marries two things. One, now you take rupees as an example, right? You have INR, which is the currency, which you're transferring it through a network. A network is either your Visa, your MasterCard, a RuPay, or your IMPS, your NEFT, or you physically transacting between you each other. So now in Bitcoin's case, what is happening? Bitcoin is the currency. Bitcoin is also the network. Now, this is something which will be very, very tough to first imagine, right? Because when I try to see if there is something parallel to this, I'm not even able to find something that's parallel to this concept. Now, what do I mean by it acts as both? Basically, Bitcoin is nothing but a ledger system, right? It's a ledger, let's consider a ledger book, which has got a lot of pages. In each page, what is happening? We're just making a ledger entry. Like, for example, let's say Hari had one Bitcoin, he transferred it to Vikram. It's a ledger entry that we'll make. Now, when you see this ledger entry, right, if you flip through all the pages of the ledger entry, you will now understand what is the amount of Bitcoin Hari used to have and what Vikram is having now. You can easily find the chain of transactions if you flip through the ledger, right? Now, this particular ledger has been moved into a database kind of a system, which is called a Bitcoin. Now, why people are going gaga about it? Simple reason being, this particular ledger is not centralized, which is not being maintained by one single party. Now, this can be maintained by multiple people across the world. Now, what this helps us in doing is, now even if one particular ledger is tampered, there are other people who will have similar copies of this ledger across the world, so they can easily find out if the ledger is tampered or not. If one ledger is tampered, that ledger is not considered to the system, and the rest system moves on with the perfect ledger, right? So now this particular format, right, wherein it says that you don't need to trust on a particular entity or a particular governing body to have a money, this is the innovation. Now, this innovation is what people are trying to bet on. Now, when we say that US dollar is the world currency, there are a lot of places where we have seen it's actually not really easy to transfer US dollar. There are a lot of restrictions. There are a lot of transfer fees and cost that is being involved. Now, the idea for bringing in is, now can we use this as a universal currency where there is no physical barrier, where it's not any one particular country which will say that this is how things will behave. So this is the idea with which Bitcoin had come. Now, when we talk about cryptocurrency, right, Bitcoin takes a lot of limelight just because of the fact that, there's a lot of adoption. There are a lot of people who are supporting Bitcoin. The community is really big. But as a matter of fact, the crypto universe, it could have somewhere around 3,000 or 4,000 projects as of now. And in that,
I was just reading something. It says 7,000 projects at this point in time,
yeah,
apparently.
could be, I mean, you just wake up and you'll find 2, 3 new projects that's there. But having said that, there are good projects, and there are a lot of projects which are not as good or just copycats of a project which is already there. So so when you pick up each of this project, right, you will understand they're trying to solve a different problem altogether. Now, Bitcoin is trying to solve the current scenario. It is trying to solve only one problem, which is store of value. It's trying to do something better than gold, right? It's just saying, I am a better investment than gold or your any particular currency that you have. But there are a lot of other currencies. Ethereum, for example. Ethereum is more like your Play Store, like a Google Play Store. It's like an engine on top of which you can build a lot of applications. That engine is a blockchain engine. Now, if you want to use the advantages of blockchain and you want to build a project, you can go build it on top of Ethereum. So there are different cryptocurrencies which are solving different problems. There is one project called IOTA, right? It's been there for quite some time now. The problem it tries to solve is also very interesting. Now, uh, now imagine in a time, it's already happening now, where machine interacts with each other. Now let's take an example that, like our cars, they're interacting with each other. Hari is driving somewhere in, for example, Anna Salai, and I'm there in Velachery. Now, instead of trusting on Google Maps, I think there was one of the case study one guy had shown, you had put 1,000 phones in one location, and Google Maps suddenly show that this street has got really high traffic, right? Now, already these automobile companies are building components where the cars will interact with each other. Now, suppose my car wants to interact with Hari's car to check with the traffic status in Anna Salai Road, right? Now my car is interacting with his car, and his car can say that, okay, to give this information, I wanted to spend some money. Now this money that I'll be spending will not be like, 1 rupee or 2 rupee, because I can make number of hits like this, millions of hits like this. So for each request, he will charge somewhere around 0.000001. Now, this big decimal value, none of our current existing financial systems can handle. Now, IOTA was brought in to handle this particular problem, wherein when machines interact with each other, the payment that will happen between these two machines, that particular project was trying to solve. So like this, we have a lot of projects which are trying to solve a lot of beautiful problems. Right now, one of the things you could have heard a lot about is NFT. Maybe going further, we can talk about NFT and other things. Now, each of this is solving a completely a different problem. So now, when I say
So is it
cryptocurrency,
something like, yeah, is it something like, I mean, part of my intersection. So just going back to the parallel of internet, right? Then, there are multiple things that came up, right? There was a Yahoo portal that came up, Yahoo Messenger or a chat messenger things that came up. Then there was a search engine that came up. So are these the ones that you're talking about? Some projects that come, some projects are good, some projects may not be, etc. Is that a reasonable parallel, which is basically an application?
I think internet is a perfect parallel, Hari. So just for the fact that, in the internet, you have things like, through internet, you're able to enjoy things like a Google search, a Ola app, or a Zomato mobile app, right?
Right.
These are all the apps which are giving a lot of value to you. But it is through the same internet, a lot of scams are also happening. A lot of MLMs which are also being promoted through this internet.
Correct.
So internet is just a
There is
medium.
porn as well, right? Like, so yeah, there are good things and bad things you can do on anything new.
Yeah.
Similarly, on crypto as a layer or blockchain as a layer, there'll always be good and bad, right? Like, so
I'm not gonna, put porn in good or bad. Let's just leave
that's
it to.
perspective. Each one, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So now what had happened is Bitcoin kind of came with this concept of blockchain, right? How this blockchain can work. Now, till that point of time, a lot of people were trying to solve this problem. No one was able to solve that problem. Satoshi Nakamoto, the founder, he was able to give a perfect solution. This is actually a really good game theory problem. If people are interested in game theories and knowing about things, this is actually a problem of incentivizing. How incentivization solves. There's something called double spending problem. I think when I get into it, it'll take a lot of time. This particular
Yeah,
thing he had solved it. Yeah.
yeah. I'll also quickly want to sort of open the room for questions. Whoever wants to sort of ask anything, let's keep it interactive fairly quickly. I just have maybe one more question, and then I'll ask friends to sort of start with their questions, etc. Vikram, so if actionably, if you want to sort of suggest us, where do we put our money? There's Bitcoin, there's Ethereum, and then there are multiple other alternate new coins that are coming in, etc. Right? Like, so what's your take?
Yeah. See, now, it's generally like how you do your other investments, right? When you jump into equity investment, what is the first thing you do? You'll put the money in the famous companies or the companies you
Right?
guys trust in. That's how you start.
Infosys, the large ones. Yeah, sure.
Large ones where you know that, has performed over a long period of time. That's ideally how you should start even in the crypto space, right? Now, Bitcoin and Ethereum, or first Bitcoin, then you can go to Ethereum, right? Now, when you start with this, now there are other things you'll have to consider now. Now, it is not just that you're doing an investment, you're also trying to understand how to trade in cryptocurrencies. What are these jargons? What is this world doing? Is it, it may not be exactly similar to equity markets, but it is more or less the concepts are all same, right? So first, what I would suggest is maybe people should first register in an exchange. Just put in, as low as,
Giottus. Let's
yeah,
plug in Giottus as an example. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
sure.
So you can invest as low as even 100 rupees or 500 rupees, and you can make your first purchase, right? So that will help you understand, okay, what is the process here, right? So once you're clear with the process, once you're when you do this, right? So what we have also seen, people usually start tracking the prices, because now unlike your Nifty 50 or anything, you won't feel 1% or 2% change. You will feel things like a 10% or 20% change what is happening here. So there will be a lot of action that will happen in short term. This action will make people keep looking into their portfolio again and again. So once when you do that, you will understand a lot about not just about Bitcoin and Ethereum. You'll also start looking into other coins. You'll start seeing, okay, now how have these coins moved? Okay, how have they performed in the last 1 week or 1 month? Slowly, you can start moving into other cryptocurrencies. So usually what I suggest is stick to Bitcoin and Ethereum for at least a month, right? Because it's so tempting when you see other coins moving 20%, 30% and all. But please stick to Bitcoin and Ethereum for at least a month. Then move to the next top 2, top 3, top 4, top 5. Stick to the top 10. Once you're very, very comfortable with top 10, right? Now you've made your investment and everything, then another 10% or 20% go out of the top 10, invest in any other token that you feel is, it's going to shoot you to the moon, right? Now, having said that, my general advice is, as an overall portfolio, depending upon your risk appetite again, it's better that you don't cross beyond the 15 to 20% in cryptocurrency in your overall portfolio, because the risk is there. So to limit your downside, have it somewhere close to 15 to 20%. People are even much more risk averse. They can go even below that. But it's my suggestion is don't cross the 20%. If you want to cross 20%, I think you should rather come to Giottus and join us. I think that's even a much better risk for you guys to take.
No, absolutely. No, great. I sort of, I was talking to a friend earlier today and was asking him some of the interesting projects that he's been tracking. He said the Brave browsers coin, right, like the BAT token, it's 10x in the last 12 months. Another VeChain had 10x in the last 12 months. And one interesting thing which was tweeted by Elon Musk probably a few weeks back, elongate, right? Like 10x in 1 week, right? So that's the temptation that you're probably talking about, right? Like you're saying first 1 month, stay with the more stable ones, like Bitcoin, Ethereum. And maybe there is also something called, when I use the word stable, there is this USD Tether, right? Like which is sort of fixed to or pegged to the US dollars, which is a lot more stable, right? There's not much of volatility. It's going to track the USD price in that sense, right? That's another stable version, etc. Right? So what about that? Maybe can you tell a little about what is this USDT?
Stablecoin is actually very, that could be the most easiest way cryptocurrency to understand. Now imagine you're going to a game zone, an arcade game zone, and now you're giving him 100 rupees, and he gives you 100 rupees worth of some tokens that you can go put the coins in that arcade and play. Stable coins are similar like that, right? Now, these people, for example, put 100,000 US dollars into a custody or a bank, and then they issue 100,000 USDT, which is 100,000, some digital value where each token is equal to 1 USDT.
Yeah, so for common everybody, so Tether is apparently the name of the company that has launched this. It's called TETHER. So they call this coin as USD Tether, so USDT, right? That's the acronym that we're talking about. Yeah, go ahead, Vikram.
So Tether is the parent. They're the
Tether,
USDT,
okay.
the Tether. They're the largest stable coin in the world. Most of the trades in cryptocurrencies between like how you have a paired coin, right? Like you buy TCS with your INR, your rupees, right? In this world, there are two layers. You can buy it with your fiat currency, that is INR, and you can buy one cryptocurrency with another cryptocurrency. I have Ethereum. I sell my Ethereum to buy equivalent Bitcoin, right?
Sure.
So like that, now why we take USDT is, now suppose I'm doing a lot of trades between one coin to other. Now instead of converting into an INR and USDT, I want to hold it as a cryptocurrency, which is stable, which will not have price movements like in Bitcoin, 10% up or 10% down. There's not going to be much of a movement there. So when you're thinking that, okay, for time being, I just want to park my money, which is not going to have a lot of volatility, you put it in USDT. So this particular Tether, the USDT company, they also have an exchange. They run an exchange called Bitfinex. It's one of the biggest exchanges in the world, similar to Binance. So Giottus is actually partnered directly with Bitfinex for order books. So you can trade the Bitfinex's USDT pairs directly in Giottus itself. So that's one interesting feature that we guys have.
So I'll just plug in some common names, or in the exchanges, the large ones are Binance, Coinbase, Bitfinex. Is that sort of? Are there any more popular ones?
There's
Giottus,
Binance.
obviously, the one top popular
Okay.
one. Yes.
Okay, let's not boast a lot here. These are all really, like for example,
I'm just plugging in for you. Yeah.
So Binance today has done, almost $100 billion worth of trade in a single day. Yeah?
Right.
That's the level of trade these guys are doing. Binance, Coinbase, a lot of people would have heard recently, they went for an IPO for $100 billion valuation. They went. There's Kraken. There is Gemini. Gemini is the exchange which was founded by the Winklevoss brothers. The Facebook story, if you guys have followed.
Ex-co-founders, right? Like, yeah.
The co-founders. Then there is Kraken. There's Bitstamp. There's a lot of exchanges. I think the top famous ones are Coinbase, Binance, Bitfinex, Kraken, and Bitstamp. Right?
Got it.
So, yeah. So usually when you trade, right, what happens is that there are two levels, right? First, you have your INR in your hand, the rupee that you have in your hand. You will buy a Bitcoin with that rupee. That is your entry into the crypto world now. Now, after you enter into the crypto world, you'll suddenly find a lot of other options. Now, let me take one example, right? Now, Giottus has got 70 cryptocurrencies that you can trade in, buy and sell in. Now, you would have heard about a cryptocurrency. SafeMoon is one of the examples, which is going really hot now. A lot of people have heard about this crypto. Now, Giottus doesn't have this coin listed with us. So now you would want to buy this particular coin. So what people usually do is they also register in any of these international exchanges, Binance or Bitfinex. So you will buy your Bitcoin here or your USDT here in Giottus, transfer it to Binance, and then you will buy your SafeMoon coin there. Now, why do you have to make that first trade here in Giottus? Because only the Indian exchanges have an option where you can buy cryptocurrency using your INR, using your rupees. In Binance or in Bitfinex, you can only buy it using a dollar or using other cryptocurrencies. So in the Indian scenario, any Indian scenario, you'll have to buy your cryptocurrency first. That is supported by Binance, either in the USDT or a BTC, that's Bitcoin or an Ethereum. Then you can transfer it to an international exchange to buy other things. Right? There are a lot of other things that you can do as well. There are a lot of other exciting ways to earn. There's something called staking. There's something called even mining is one of the options.
Yeah.
Pooling.
Yeah. So that's an interesting concept which I wanted to also highlight for common folks. One interesting thing is in this universe, right? Again, just to give one more parallel to the concept of a parallel universe itself, right? So the entry ticket to the universe is you go with a fiat currency, INR or USD, enter in, you get any crypto in your hand, let's say a Bitcoin, and then you can start playing in that universe, like buying another Ethereum using a Bitcoin, buying any other new project, new token, etc., with a Bitcoin, etc., right? So I think within that, let's say, arcade, you have the coin to play with, right? So that's the universe parallel. So coming back to Vikram, the last piece that you were talking, if you could just repeat that piece, I wanted to highlight on that.
Yeah. I think let me not go a lot detailed into what these features are, Hari, because when I'm talking about staking, I'll have to explain.
Yeah, maybe I'll just give a very simple common man view of it. See, rather than just keeping money idle in Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency, because there is a concept of liquidity creation, which is required to make these exchanges work or the entire crypto universe, work well. People give money just to take your money and keep it for their liquidity purposes, right? So it's like a bank taking our money and keeping it in FD and using it for whatever lending or whatever purpose that they do, right? So here, similarly, there is a concept called, I think, Vikram, I also wanted to understand
It's
what
really
is,
powerful.
let's say, proof of work, what is proof of stake, what is mining, what is farming, maybe a quick 1 to 2 minute on that basics. And because that
People
actually
are,
gives confidence and yeah, because it's important to know. See, if someone is giving me money just to take my money and park it, the bank is giving me, let's say, 12% interest today for FD. I will not trust that bank unless I really know what are they using that money to deploy and earn 15%, and hence they're giving me 12%. Otherwise, it could be a Sharda scam in India, right? Like it shouldn't be
yeah,
that. So I really want us to know how do they make money by either proof of stake or pooling or
yeah,
farming, etc. Right? So if
yeah,
that is real, then we know there is an underlying economic reason why they're paying
yeah.
someone to park their money as well, right? So yeah,
So see now, when I was talking about Bitcoin, one major thing I said is it's nothing but a ledger, right? A ledger book where we have entries, right? Now in a bank, you trust the bank that they're gonna write the entry correctly. Like if say Hari transfers some X amount of money to Vikram, the bank is gonna say in the ledger saying Hari to Vikram 100 rupees. You trust him because you trust the centralized body. Now in the crypto space, I've said that, okay, there's no centralized body. So there can be a chance that, okay, someone who's going to enter it in the system, they can say, instead of writing it as Vikram, they can enter that 100 rupees for themselves, right?
right.
Now, how do I stop this? Now, how in the digital world, when there's no intervention, how do we stop a ledger entry, a malicious ledger entry that is being made? So
Yeah,
to solve this, people came up with the concept of proof of work. Now
sure.
let's just keep it simple. Let us consider proof of work as a mathematical puzzle to solve, right? Now let us consider there are 100 people who are wanting to make that entry in the ledger, but only one person can make that entry in the ledger. That one person who is going to make that entry in the ledger, he is going to be incentivized. Okay, I am going to give him in the current scenario 6.25 Bitcoin. I'm going to incentivize him. Now, for him to win this particular opportunity to get it entered in the ledger, what I'm saying is whoever solves this puzzle, mathematical puzzle first, only they get the chance to enter in the ledger. Now, why is this important, right? Why is anyone even playing around saying that why should there be a puzzle for an entry and everything? The biggest trouble in the digital space is now if someone is having the same entry, Hari is transferring 100 rupees to Vikram. Now, if one particular guy makes an entry saying 100 rupees to Vikram, and at the same point of time, someone else makes an entry saying, no, Hari had transferred that 100 rupees he had not to Vikram, but to me. Now, which entry you should trust? Which entry you should believe? Now, if you're going to believe both these entries, then basically the 100 rupees Hari had, he spent it twice. He gave it the same 100 rupees to two people. The system will fail. Now, what we have to do is the problem here is we have to choose only one of these entries. To choose one of these entries, we are going to see to that only one of these guys can make an entry, right? And so no, I'm trying to simplify a lot of things, but technically, if you read them, there is a small actually catch even in whatever I'm saying. So this particular way of choosing who is going to enter in the ledger is proof of work. Now, proof of work requires like huge computer system. Basically, what they're doing is they're running a brute force algorithm to solve this puzzle. When this
Yeah.
brute force, sorry, yeah.
I'll just make a small interjection. So we are also hearing comments from the audience saying this is where it is going into the OHT territory, right? Like, so basically the parallel there is, do we understand how HTTP protocol works, right? No, right? Like beyond the level we don't, right? We don't need to. My opinion at a business analyst or a user or an investor layer is we don't need to really know how things work as long as we know that it's designed in a fault-proof way where people can't game it so much, right? Because it's a public ledger. I think that's another important aspect, that this entire ledger is public, right? Open source. The chain is entirely public, and hence people cannot sort of play with it. I think that's a reasonable answer. Maybe Vikram, maybe you can dumb it down for us and maybe quickly go to the functional aspects of the proof of stake, and hence how do people make money with just parking money, and hence it's a easy way to economically gain from being part of the crypto universe, right? That's the whole point I'm driving towards quickly, rather than getting so much into the lost into the details, right? Like, yeah.
I understand. So just like how I had explained, so proof of work will take a lot of energy. It will drain a lot of energy. You have to run a lot of servers. So people had found a new concept called proof of stake, that Ethereum is particularly implementing. A lot of other cryptocurrencies have already implemented this concept. In this concept, it is nothing. Instead of saying solve this puzzle, it says that anyone who is going to enter this particular account in the ledger, they will stake some X amount of Ethereum into the system. For example, they will say 20 Ethereum I'm staking. If in future, if you find out I made a wrong entry, you can find me in the deposit I've made. Right? So this is called staking. Basically, you're putting some deposit money and saying, I will do the entry work. If there's some mistake in it, you can find me. So there's all the more incentive for the person who's staking to do the right accounting, right? Now, this is an earning opportunity. So when someone is helping the mining process or the proof of stake process, they earn from the chain itself. There's a reward that the chain gives. Now, there are a lot of people around the world, they do staking. They have their algorithms and everything, but they've installed it in a computer and they do staking. Now, you don't have to do all this and run all these algorithms. Now, they are going to stake some X money. That is the money they're pulling from you. Okay, now I have to put 20 Ethereum. You are giving me 2 Ethereum, another guy is giving me 2 Ethereum. Now, whatever profit I'm going to earn from this, I'm going to divide and give it to you guys in the way of the investment you've given it to me. This is staking. Now, how can you trust this guy to give your Ethereum? A lot of big exchanges like Bitfinex, Binance. Now we are also launching this feature soon. So when a lot of these big names, when they're launching these features, people are trusting them and they're putting their cryptocurrencies in stake. Because once you buy your cryptocurrency and you're going to wait for a very long time for it to appreciate, you can rather put it in a staking product and earn money for it, just like how we do it in a savings account. Right. So there are other concepts. Right? See, now whatever I said in staking is the less risky, or I don't actually find any other risk apart from the prices depreciating during the time when you put it in a staking, right? Now, there are other.
And I hear it's 12% typically, right? Like Bitcoin or Ethereum stake is 12% apparently. Is that
so it
looks very attractive, right?
See, it differs from crypto to crypto. Now, Ethereum is giving you somewhere around an API of somewhere around. The recent one is 11.2%. There are other cryptocurrencies like there's Tron, there is Doge staking is also happening. There are other cryptocurrencies which even can give you higher than that, right? Now now what you should be thinking when you're doing staking is when you stake the product, it will be locked for a period of time. Now, if the price of that particular coin goes down and you cannot sell it during that time, that is what you should be worried about. Right? So choose cryptocurrencies which are much more stable. I'll not be thinking much about staking my Ethereum because I know at a longer point of time, the price is going to increase a lot. Right? So choose your cryptocurrencies wisely when you stake.
Got it. So it's basically instead of putting money in FD, right? Whether you will invest in, let's say, a real estate, buying a land or apartment, or keep money as money in cash, and instead of keeping it cash, you're putting it in an FD in a bank, which anyways gives you whatever interest. This is equivalent to that, right? I'm holding Ethereum for long term. Instead of keeping it as Ethereum, I'm just putting it as a stake, because any which ways I'm going to hold it for long term.
Yeah. Right. So there are other ways even like one of the staking is what I explained. Farming is what Hari was explaining in the beginning. There are a lot of, so we are in a way, there's an irony, right? Now I am having a centralized exchange dealing with decentralized products, right? So Giottus is centralized, right? Now buy and sell, we have a platform, we are centralized. Well, there are decentralized exchanges. They're called DEX, right? So these decentralized exchanges, they need to have liquidity, right? When someone is wanting to buy Ethereum, they should have enough Ethereum sellers, right? So to promote liquidity, right? To promote people to bring in liquidity, they also given some rewards for that. They pay. So if you go and put your Ethereum there as a pool there, they will give you somewhere. There are a lot of products which gives you really high return. Like there are times when it gives 100% returns and all. But now things have stabilized a bit. DeFi market has stabilized. You get somewhere close to again on a monthly basis 2% or a monthly basis 1.5% is what the returns people are seeing now.
Got it. Got it. So Vikram, I want to sort of take the conversation towards more actionable things for us individuals, right? Like how can we really participate in this, right? Like the how-tos of it, right? Like we understood the why should we participate in this. The second is maybe what should we participate. You said that maybe the top ones, stable ones. Let's stick to that. Maybe Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum, maybe USDT. Start with those, right? And then stay for a month, and then slowly start experimenting with the second tier sort of new and upcoming sort of projects or crypto coins, etc. Right? Like we could do that. Is there someone who suggests us? Is there a service that says, the next big one, reasonably established? He's not a bad actor. He's not unvalidated, not a small idea state. Some reasonable momentum going in this, and then here are the four things that you should look at. Something like a mutual fund concept, right? Someone comes and says, hey, Infosys, Reliance, Tatas, but you know what? I also come up with someone, let's say like a mid-level player, like a Mindspace, and say, hey, this is like a good mini Infosys in the making, for example, right? Like, and things like that. Is there some service? That's one. And number three is the house of it. How can I actually participate, right? Like, I know I should go to an exchange and participate, but little about the house of it, etc. as well. Yeah.
Hari, now to answer your first question, right? Now, if there are any advisors or are there any journals which talk about where to invest or how to invest, I don't particularly suggest any advisors, right? Mm-hmm. Just the reason being, now imagine a mutual fund space which is not being regulated at all. How would that space look like, right?
Yeah.
We want regulations to come in before I can quote someone's name saying that, okay, these guys do a pretty good job. Now, there are few people who do that, right? But particularly my suggestion, how I want people to go about is start with Bitcoin, start with Ethereum. Now, USDT is not for investment. USDT is...
So let's focus on Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? Like now, what's your prediction on this? Will it go 100x in the next 5 to 10 years? Let's put Vikram on a spot and try and understand.
See, now my bet on, now actually I bet more on Bitcoin than Ethereum, right? Sure. I'll also explain to you why I bet more on Bitcoin than Ethereum. See, if there is a particular product which is giving better features than Ethereum, tomorrow that product can do better than Ethereum, right? Because sure. What Ethereum, as I said, it's a Play Store. So when there's another Play Store, which is going to cost less to operate in, which is going to have other good features, this Play Store is no longer going to be used, right? On the contrary, Bitcoin is so different because we call Bitcoin a dumb protocol. There is nothing much in Bitcoin. Only thing they're saying is it's a good store of value. That's it. Right. No innovation like this, no innovation, saying that it's going to happen like this and everything. Bitcoin works on only adoption. If more and more people invest or adopt Bitcoin or consider it as store of value, it will keep growing. Now, this particular pandemic was a really big example. When the pandemic struck, a lot of these Western companies, right, institutions, they started investing in Bitcoin. They wanted to safeguard their wealth. Now, This momentum is what I'm seeing will keep happening. A lot of these institutions will keep coming in. A lot of family institutions have started investing, A lot of listed companies like MicroStrategy, they've started investing in. Now, when these people come in, and the regulations become clearer. Now imagine, right, when the regulations are clearer in Indian market, when it becomes clearer, institution players can come in. Someone like an LIC can come in. When people like these come in, that's when the actual growth happens. Now, a part of the growth has been driven by, now Bitcoin in the beginning, it was driven by the Eastern world, right? Japan, Korea, and all these Eastern countries.
China is big as
Then
well.
the
Yeah.
West has come in now. The West is
Yeah.
coming in, they're pouring in a lot of money. Now, when a lot of other countries they start following suit, it's when the adoption gains. So my bet on Bitcoin, right? I would easily say, right now, if you ask me, don't take it as an investment advice. I'll put all the disclaimers that is there possible. Within a matter of at least at the max, I would say 2 years, it could easily cross $100,000.
Okay. So it's at $50,000. It could 2x in 2 years,
So easily
right?
2x in a matter of,
Roughly.
yeah, roughly. Now,
Short
now,
term.
now, now, why I'm taking this 2 years time frame even is right. Now, what is going to happen? Crypto is going to see a lot of corrections in the shorter terms, right? Now,
Right.
as you saw now, it touched $65,000. It has corrected. It went down to $48,300. Now it is again gone up to 50,000. Now, usually, what happens in this phase is the market will be trading sideways for some time. Then a lot of institutional investors they will think that okay, now some intervention should happen. These institutions will come in, they'll move the prices up again. So these ups and downs will keep happening, and on a larger time frame it'll easily cross $100,000 in shorter term.
Yeah. No, I think one conversationally when Vikram was talking, one important point that he made is something to take note of, right? In the journey of maturation of a product, right? Like when companies like Tesla and MicroStrategy, large companies start parking their treasury monies in crypto, I think that's a great signaling, right? It's a great milestone crossed. When more and more companies start doing this. For example, I was talking to a late stage institutional VC fund, more like a hedge fund based in Singapore. And they were not into crypto so far. And they had a 1 to 2 hours meeting with a MicroStrategy CEO. And post that, they've started a significant allocation into that, right? So I think people get inspired within that community, right? The corporate sort of community, sort of that rub-off effect comes into play as well. I think that's another bigger validation to the whole cryptocurrency investing and corporate money, treasury money moving into crypto as an asset class. I think that's a very significant milestone as well. So coming back to the other sort of things that we could do potentially, right? Like coming back to India, right? As a regulatory question, right? I think that's another thing that a lot of our friends have been asking, and like where is the problem and what is the risk? Is it legal to invest in crypto assets being in India? Number one, like what's the nuance? I know there is a nuance sort of way the regulation has been set up, Vikram. So if you could explain it for us, that will really help.
So see now, since the beginning of the crypto trading in India, till the time what we are talking now, trading and holding cryptocurrency in India has never been illegal, right?
Right.
That's the first biggest takeaway I think everyone should take from this particular conversation. Never has Indian government or RBI or anyone has said trading is illegal. They have issued warnings every now and then saying, okay, there's no consumer protection here. There's a lot of speculation. The price movements are really high here. Be careful with your investment. So this is the warnings that they've given. Now in 2018, the RBI came in and said that entities cannot use their bank accounts when the crypto entities cannot be using their bank accounts, right? RBI came and put this particular notice, it gave it to all the banks. So this was a big showstopper for a lot of people. But what happened in 2020 March, the Supreme Court had struck down this particular order stating that RBI has no rights to deprive an industry of a banking access. Now, that is the only significant move that the RBI or any government body had taken on cryptocurrency. Even that significant move was struck down by the Supreme Court in 2020 March. Now that the news that you keep hearing every now and then, right, where there was a particular point that appeared in the last session, where it was said that the government is planning to discuss on banning private cryptocurrencies and trying to bring in CBDC, central bank digital currency. Now, this particular point created a lot of confusion among everyone, including us, because we ourselves did not know what is private cryptocurrency. because whatever we are talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum, they are called public blockchains or the public cryptocurrencies. We also found it a lot tough to understand what they meant even. Now, having said that, the particular bill or the particular discussion never was taken up for discussion. And as an industry body, we are also discussing every now and then with the government to understand their thought process and also give them new, also give them understanding about what's happening in this crypto world. Now, one of the biggest worry they had is AML, right? Anti-terrorist funding and money laundering. Now, what we exchanges, right? Every exchange in India. So now we are also part of the Indian Mobile Association, IAMAI. We have put in a governing body there for blockchain and cryptocurrencies. Now we've all taken a decision, wherein we will all follow the best possible KYC norms that are available, right? Now, for example, every single trade that can happen in any of the Indian exchanges now, it can happen only after a KYC. And we follow a lot of other things. Like for example, there is one particular feature of tracking cryptocurrencies where they go after you do a transfer, which is not mandated by the government to do it, which is mandated by the FAFT, that's the Financial Action Task Force. They're mandating European entities to do it, but we Indian entities are already doing it. So we are doing a lot of things to showcase to the government that, okay, now actually a lot of good things are happening here. This has actually made the government rethink. Now we don't have a particular news to give out to say, okay, the government has made this decision. They have not. They're deliberating on what to do with this. Now, having said that, almost any developed nation you take, right, they have gone ahead and put some form of regulation for cryptocurrency and they have not banned it. So usually what we have seen India doing is any particular tech industry, right, be it AI or P2P, peer-to-peer lending, for an example, they have gone ahead and seen what the developed nations have done in form of regulation and they've implemented here in India. We are most probably expecting something like that to happen. Now, having said that, right, the most important thing right now, what if when ban happens, what happens to my savings and everything? Now, there are two arguments for that. Part one, when the ban happens, part A, they cannot shut down things immediately. They're going to give some time. The second part, unless and until the last country in the world bans cryptocurrency or Bitcoin, this can be traded anywhere in any part of the world. Now, it cannot be traded here, it can be traded in US, it can be traded in Japan, it can be traded in Australia. So till the last country in the world bans cryptocurrency, trade can happen and your assets can realize its value in a fiat.
Yeah, so one question there. So let's say, for example, we put in money from our Indian bank account. So we're leaving a trace that sort of, they know that we have invested in crypto, right? And there can be an economic fine, for example, right? Like we've not allowed it, you've invested, so equivalent of whatever money you made, you pay it in fine, for example, right? Like, is that a real risk?
So that's an argument even, Hari. To track if someone is owning a crypto or not, that is close to impossible. There's, if I have to, suppose, right, I have to get gold inside the country, I'll have to hide it, I'll have to put it inside a bag that no one can see and everything. If I have to get a crypto, right, or you have to just store a crypto with me, I don't even have to write it in a paper. I just have to remember some 64 digits in my head. No one can find out I'm holding a cryptocurrency or not. That is the argument we are making to the government. If they're trying to ban it, there is no way to even see if someone is holding or not. Monitoring is close to impossible. And when monitoring is close to impossible, we know what's going to happen. It's going to create a parallel economy. And an unnecessary black market is going to create. That is actually an important point that the government is also considering. That they're trying to see, okay, what to do with it.
Right. Got it. And another thing I'm just trying to understand, let's say, for example, if there are mutual fund or fund kind of entities that are allowing Indians to invest in those funds, right? And these funds are, let's say, set up in Singapore or other places, etc. Is that a reasonably legally safe route, in your opinion?
See, now we are not very sure if at all if there's going to be a hard regulation, what the regulation is going to be, right? Okay. So if the the worst case scenario, if they say in any form you should not hold, then I think anything you do, it's not, I will not put in a safe bracket. right? But having said that, we don't expect things to go to that extreme. Like, see, now someone can, for example, like the example you said, right? I can have an entity which is in Singapore. That entity could be investing in cryptocurrencies, and through an LRS route, you can invest in that entity, not the cryptocurrency
Right.
directly.
Correct.
So you can
So you
anytime argue
effectively get the underlying economic benefits upside of the cryptocurrency
outside of the
and
crypto.
not
Yeah.
actually holding the cryptocurrency, right? You're one way insulated by a corporate entity in between. Yeah, in a way.
So that, these are all models, we as an exchange are also exploring now, right?
Right.
So that if worst case scenario comes even, and because see, considering the news that is being generated, right? Now, every Indian would want to invest in this asset, right? Now, why should they be deprived of? So
Correct.
when someone wants to invest, we'll try to find solutions either through an LRS route or anything, right? There are even other ways of doing things. But having said that, we don't expect the government to go to that extreme. What we have been suggesting to the government is there is actually good amount of tax that can be gained from this industry, right?
Sure.
You just let them trade, gain tax from this industry. I think that's good for the government.
Got it. Sounds good. One last interesting concept that I wanted to ask you about was this NFTs, right? Like people say that the way early days of Bitcoin sort of started, that's probably something similar that NFTs or non-fungible tokens for people sort of, don't ask me why that is named that way. Maybe Vikram can sort of answer that. Maybe as a layman's view, I'll probably give my view, which is basically anything that is unique, right, can be sort of tokenized as an NFT. Some examples people are doing it are art, music clippings, or sort of short videos of even sports sort of games, finals, moments of scoring goals in those, etc. Anything unique, right? Like for example, any content or anything that's sort of digital and unique is sort of getting into this NFT mode. Maybe Vikram, your expert definition of what is NFT and sort of
Yeah.
how do you see it more importantly, and is that something that we should as an asset class sort of look at it? When do we look at it? I mean, you said first 1-2 months play only within the stable thing and then slowly look, right? Like, is this one of the new things that we should put some allocation into as well? And what are the top
Yeah.
ones and yeah, your views?
So first coming to NFT, right? So the concept here is called fungibility, right? Now, for example, now if Hari has got a 100 rupee note and I have got 100 rupee note, we can exchange these 200 rupee notes. Both are
Right.
same, right? Now imagine I take that 100 rupee note, get Dhoni's signature, MS Dhoni's signature on my 100 rupee note. Suddenly, my 100 rupee note is much more valuable than his 100 rupee note. It becomes non-fungible, non-interchangeable suddenly, right?
Yeah.
So now when I take this concept of cryptocurrency, now I have one Bitcoin, Hari has one Bitcoin. We can just transfer it between each other. There's no change. Nothing happens now. Now let's bring in this concept of non-fungible. Like there is the value of this particular token I have is different, and the value of the token Hari has is different. Now, how I'm going to make these two values different? Now, let us take the example like Hari was talking, right? Now, the token I have, let's consider, has the right of digital ownership of Mona Lisa's art. And the token Hari is holding has the right for the ownership of the digital piece of Van Gogh Starry Night Arts, for example. Now, both these tokens, though let me name this token as art token, for example, though both these tokens are art tokens, both these values are different because the underlying asset which is there, the value of that is completely different. Now, this particular concept is taking rage now. Now, let's take one example, right? Now, why this? How do we implement this? I don't see a use case for this, right? Now, one of the biggest use cases is art, like I've explained, right? Now, one question will come to people's mind, right? Now, someone is taking ownership of a digital art. Now, having something digital means that it can be easily copied, right? I can take multiple copies of this. Why these guys spending so much money to buy this, right? Now, we'll take a particular example, a real life example, that is what happened at the Christie's auction, right? Christie at auction an NFT token, an NFT piece, and there was someone who had got it for $69 million. And the best part is, guys, it's good to discuss during this session. It was bought by Metacoin company, and the person who had bought, he is a Bitsian. He's a 2006, 2010 Bitsian.
As a 2-year junior to Vikram in college,
Yeah,
right?
he's a BITSAA Dubai alumni. So he spent $69 million to buy to buy the first ever auction, NFT auction done. Now, what is the use case, right? How does this really helps now, right? Now, what he is going to do, he is having a gaming environment. I'm not sure if you guys seen, for example, something like a Minecraft, right? You could have seen either you or you could have seen your kids or your friends would have been playing Minecraft, where there is a world, right? Okay. Let's take Age of Empires. I'm not sure if people have played that. Now, he's planning to create in that particular world where people play the games. He's planning to build a very big monument, right? It's also a digital monument. Inside that monument, he's planning to display this art. Now, you'll be like, what crazy thing is this, right? Now, this is actually really important. Imagine I'm playing a game. I can go into this monument and view this picture, and this picture can be best viewed only digitally, because this particular painting what he has got, right, it is almost a collage of painting that the particular painter Babel had drawn since 2007, right? So that has got a lot of minute things which can be viewed better only when you zoom it, when it's got a lot of pixels and everything. So that experience can happen only in a digital format, and that is how he's planning to make money out of it. Display it there, or make people, have something like an entry fee to come see there and make money out of it. There are a lot of use cases. Let's take a quick another example, right? Imagine.
One interruption. There's also an interesting question. Doesn't it sound too niche, right, for the larger world to sort of look at it? Like, yeah, your thoughts, and then there's the next
Let's
example as
take
well.
art as an investment, right? Art as an investment itself is too niche, right? Now it doesn't mean that there's not big market size for that. There is a huge market size for that. Now, I spoke about an art which is $69 million. There could be even an art which is, as low as $100, which someone wants to buy it and, digitally have it in some form of a perspective, right? Now, one other example, right? This is actually happening. They're doing it with NBA videos. Now, imagine I'm having an NFT, and in that NFT, I'm giving you a right for a video clipping, high definition video clipping that no one has, of MS Dhoni hitting a six of the World Cup final. I am giving you that right. Now just imagine how much that is going to get sold, right? Now you can do the same thing. You can have a web page where people can come view that video in high definition in their virtual reality set, right? And enjoy it and go. Now, at this point of time, it sounds so niche, but with a lot of other techs which are also developing, right? Be it virtual reality and all those things, this could be really exciting. Now there are a lot of use cases which are already happening right now. Things like a fantasy cricket league, right? In that, people are now having NFTs of players' cards, right? Now, where a particular token is associated with one particular player, and people are auctioning that particular player, right, through a token format. So there are a lot of use cases which are already being formed in the gaming world, in the art world, and everything. But that's the reason, right? The technology has been built, like the internet has been built. Now, a lot of people should come together to find different use cases, like either an Ola or a Zomato.
Right. So one question. So when you say the digital art has been bought, let's say the Dhoni's sixer in the finals. If I own that video clipping using an NFT, so wherever that clipping is used, do I get money from that or no? The copies of the digital thing, are they free, or do they pay me a royalty, and do I earn it as a owner of it?
I can define it that way. See, that's the beauty with NFT, right? So it's built on Ethereum. Ethereum can handle any smart contract, right? Now, if I am the author, now Beeple has actually done this. The Metacoin guy is bought for 69 million. Now, what they have done is, whenever there is a resale, 10% of the resale will keep going to Beeple.
Got it.
Right? So you can write a lot of smart contracts in this that way. Right? So that is why, right? It's not just adding an asset to it. You can also say what behaviors can happen in future.
Yeah, I get it. So one more question, Ramakrishnan, again, I'm also trying to understand is, like, there is this, traditional valuation, right? Like the way we've been valuing things versus how valuation is going to be done in the NFT world, crypto world, etc. I think we'll have to sort of come up with sort of an understanding and comfort and the art and science and the math behind how valuation is going to be done in the near future, right? I think that's going to evolve. There will come a sort of a mechanism where sort of it becomes method. There is method to how things are getting valued, but I think we are in the fluid phase, right? But we will have to come to sort of understanding of how that happens as well. Audience, feel free to jump in with questions. Would love to open the next few minutes for you guys to come open. Christy had asked, right? Like, how do we get started? Can we use Giottus? That's one question. Christy, do you want to ask something specific? Did you try out Giottus website? Anything specific to Vikram? Please.
No, I was just looking at the Giottus app and looking at registering and all. So I just wanted to understand how we go about registering, and then if at all we want to start investments, can we do that using the Giottus app?
Yeah. So see, the registration process it's a simple 5-minute process. If you have your Aadhaar card and PAN card copies with you, or Aadhaar card or your driving license or any other proof, PAN is compulsory. So the process goes simple, but you giving your email ID, which will get verified, mobile number verified through an OTP. Then you'll have to upload your PAN card and your second ID proof, which is your Aadhaar or driving license. And then you give details of the bank account through which you're going to transact, like deposit and also request withdraw. So once you give these details and submit, we usually verify the KYC within 5 to 10 minutes at the max. So within 5 to 10 minutes of you submitting these details, you will be ready to, you can get ready to start depositing the rupees and making your purchase. Now, even depositing, we have a lot of features, like you can do it through UPI way, or we are also have features wherein you add the bank account to your beneficiary, what we are displaying it to you, and you keep transferring the amount. It will get auto reflected in your Giottus within a matter of 10 seconds. So depositing money into Giottus, buying your first cryptocurrency can actually happen, within a matter of 10 to 15 seconds. Right now, that's the speed at which we can do things. KYC, don't worry, the whole process. If you have the Aadhaar and PAN copies with you, digital copies with you, it's not going to take more than 5 minutes. The simple KYC process, we do our verifications. There's a lot of tech that goes behind to do the verifications quicker. So that's going to be much more easy, and you can also buy for as low as 100 rupees in Giottus. So you can also deposit for as low as 100 rupees or 500 rupees in Giottus. So don't worry of trying things out. Even if you have any queries, right? I mean, I'm also giving my mobile number here. I'll be happy to answer your questions, guys. So that's my mobile number. You can also reach out to me. That's my WhatsApp number as well. Do feel to ping me. I can help you out with the process as well.
04.
So one of the first things when I spoke to Vikram and asked him, what's so special about Giottus, right? He said customer service. I'm just seeing a founder of a company happy to share his personal mobile number on a session like this. I think that's an indication of being open, right? Like that's important in a space like crypto, right? Because there is a lot of complexity, optical complexity, right? The fear of the unknown that is there. I think being more open, being more transparent, I think really builds that comfort and confidence and trust, right? In companies that are dealing in this space. That's important. Yeah.
Actually, that's one of the greatest learnings that I took from Amazon when I came out, Hari. I think if someone asked me, you've been in Amazon, what is that you took from Amazon and implemented in your own venture? Is this, how to make sure that you keep hearing from the customer, right? So my customer support, I take a lot of pride. I can go to a level of saying that none of the exchanges in India and internationally, they give customer support to the level that we give. Right now, international exchanges, they're close to having a really bad customer support. When even in comparison, an Indian exchange, I think we are very, very proud that we do the best job here in customer support, at least.
Vikram, how do we get in touch with the customer care support in your case? Because I was trying to get it registered, but it's very complicated. Adding the bank details not happening as it's shown in your videos.
Acha. So let's do. So what I'll do, you can either.
If you have a minute, can I share my screen and I can show it to you? What are the
So you're going to
difficulties
show it
coming?
to everyone here. Everyone here, and your bank account is going to flash to everyone here. So can we do
No,
it?
I'm not. I have not flashed my bank account at this point of time, but I can show you what the difficulty is.
Yes, please.
It'll take some 1 second if I'm not wrong.
Yes, yes.
So I'll just do that.
Yeah, while you do that, Amrish, Gopal has a
Hey,
question.
while
So
while
what?
he's doing that, right? Like I had a query.
Sure, Naren, go
So
ahead.
since you're running the exchange, right? What is actually who is driving the prices, right? Like it just like went up crazy in the last 1 year, right? So is it the institutional players who are like pumping in all the liquidity which is coming from the US Fed into this and like holding it, and the retail guys are like going to be slaughtered after some time, or is it the retail guys who have like gone crazy and started playing this as a new video game during the last year in the lockdown?
Yeah. See, actually, we should be more worried if it was retail driven, right? So when it is extremely retail driven, what is going to happen? A small change in price, these guys are going to get really scared, and the price are going to crash badly. That ideally is what had happened in 2017 when a lot of ICOs came into play and the market started crashing badly because it was all retail driven. We kept thinking that in 2017 itself, a lot of institutions will invest in cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin in particular, but not much of an investment came from that side. 2020-21 has been the year, right? It has been the year when a lot of companies, that's why I was quoting, even publicly traded companies have gone ahead and started investing. This actually became possible through something called a Grayscale's BTC Trust, right? They introduced an option which became easier for entities to invest in cryptocurrencies. So they launched something called GBTC, GETH. They introduced a lot of cryptocurrencies that an institution can directly invest without any legal complications for them. This drove a lot of market, right? So this particular, like when I'm saying in 48,000, the market picked up again. One of the reasons that we were quoting that it's actually very tough to break that barrier because in 48,000 a lot of institutions bought in at that price point. After 48,000 we did not see a lot of institutions buying. It was more of retail buy that had happened. So that is why we were saying, okay, now this 60 which was crossing, it looks like it's more of a retail push or an institution push. Maybe with this correction we're expecting a lot of institutions to enter in again, considering it's a really good price point to enter now. So this was more of institution driven, which is good, right? This is adoption. As I was saying, in Bitcoin is going to be more about adoption. More and more institutions, if they, when there's more and more things that are happening, which is either good or bad for USD, something will happen in Bitcoin space, right? Now, yeah. So to answer your question directly, it was institution driven. It was clearly seen with a lot of companies coming ahead and quoting it in their annual reports and everything on how much they've invested.
Okay, just to follow up to that, thanks for that. Last question from my end, right? The other one was like, it was interesting to hear your sort of like heuristic, right? Like 15 to 20% allocation in your portfolio. Yes, that comes with all its like disclaimers, right? But if you're like looking around all these like noises which are being made by all these like famous financial analysts and other things, right? Elon Musk again like came in a picture with that. Like for all the song and dance he did, the amount of exposure was only about like 0.25%. Like I don't know if my number is like accurate, but I did read it somewhere that it was like extremely minuscule, right? So what is actually giving you the basis to go with such a high number? Because like that literally blew me out, like 15 to 20%.
Yeah. So I'll get to that. See, now that's why I said clearly. Now, when depending on your risk appetite, I said don't cross 15 to 20%, right? That is the level to the max that you will touch. After that, even if after that you want to take more risk, I think it's better that if you do something directly in a crypto entity, crypto world, either trying to find that you can launch your own crypto or trying to find a project or fund a project directly. Now, having said that, right now, when we are saying Elon Musk has done only 0.25%, we are seeing a lot of other entities who have gone ahead and said that, okay, they're going to do 2%, 3%. MicroStrategy is a very good example. Every quarter, they're increasing their investment into cryptos. Now, those are institutions which are drastically increasing their treasury funds into this. Now, when you look into your portfolio, if you're wanting to see that, okay, I'm okay to have a 15 to 20% in a high risk with a really good upside, that is the level of risk that I want to take. And what is the issue or what is wrong with taking that strategy is what I want to post.
Okay, thanks for that.
Great. In interest of time, Amarish, we request you to take it offline with Vikram. He has shared his number for
Yeah, I'll do
the
that. Yeah, I'll do
sort
that.
of login
Do you
thing.
have a customer
And
care service? Because it's not, I mean, I don't have the number of customer care. I mean, it's not showing on the net.
Yeah.
yeah, you can use Vikram's number directly, right? Like maybe you can use that for now.
Highly responsive. You can also ping in a live chat. I'll also ping the support number, so that you can also call them up in case I'm not picking the phone.
Yeah, maybe Vikram, you can also put the support number of the chat. So another question from Gopal Vadvani, right? So which is, what do you get at the end of it, right? Like you get a code or after you purchase, how do you verify you actually purchased something, you got something, and maybe this whatever number of digits code that you said, right? We'll have to sort of keep it safe. And how safe is it? I mean, to memorize it, write it down, would it get hacked? I mean, Bitcoin's getting stolen. What do you think about that? That's a security aspect. But starting with Gopal's question, how do you buy and what you get for it as well?
So now let's think about it this way, right? Now, if I have rupees in my hand and I want to take care of it myself, I'll have to buy a safe. I'll have to make sure that I don't, show the password when I'm entering it inside. So I'll have to take care of a lot of things. On the contrary, what you can do, you can go deposit that money in a bank and let the bank take care of all the security related issues. It's a similar case here. Now, when you trade in an exchange, the exchange is the custodian of the assets, the crypto assets here, the Bitcoin and Ethereum. We take care of, holding the cryptocurrencies. When you request for a withdrawal, we take care of processing that withdrawals. When you get a deposit from someone else, we take care of processing the deposit and everything. Now when you keep everything in an exchange, the risk and everything is taken care by the exchange. Now there are a lot of things that keep happening around the world. Now imagine this. So for example, take Bitcoin right now. The best of the best hackers around the world, they are trying to find a way to hack Bitcoin. Right, 10 years down the line, with almost 1 trillion plus worth, people are not able to hack this particular system. That talks.
I've heard very recent news of one Turkish exchange shutting down and running away with a few $1 billion as well, right? Like so.
Correct. So there are two things people have to be worried about, right? When they are putting in an exchange, that's one big worry, right? What if the exchange guys take the money and run away, right? This can stop only when there is consumer protection, when there's regulation, when the government is bringing in to protect consumers, right? Now, the part two, the exchange getting hacked, that is much more serious, right? The exchange gets hacked and all this investment, the assets get stolen. Now, what we do in particular in Giottus is our custodial wallets. That is almost 89 to 90, 85 to 90% of the customer holdings. We keep it in a custodial wallet that is being provided by someone called BitGo. We use someone called BitGo as a service provider to hold majority of the customer's assets. Now, what is so great about him? Now, majority of the Bitcoin transaction is being processed by BitGo. He's the world leader in wallet management. That is part one. He's got high experience in safeguarding the assets. Part two, 100% of the assets which are there in the BitGo's custodian, they are insured, right? So that gives him the additional security that is required. So tomorrow, even if anything happens to Giottus or it gets hacked, we have put it somewhere where it is insured. So that brings in the security feature. Now, the second part where you asked, right, what if you have to save it yourself, you'll have to make sure that you can easily create a wallet. Creating a wallet is nothing, it's just generating a public and a private key. I can separately, if someone is interested, I can separately just discuss with them how to do that. But the key that you get, save it properly, make 2-3 copies, save it properly. Because if you lose the key, there's no way of retrieving it. And when someone gets a key, they can easily take it out. So make sure that the key is saved properly. That's the only catch there.
Got it. So Ansh had a question. Ansh, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, sure.
Anybody else, please?
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, hi Vikram. So basically, like for a crypto learner, like if you could suggest some resources or some courses, podcasts, which would be a good key from both an investing perspective and also from a building perspective. Like if somebody wants to spot opportunities in the crypto market, so if you could guide on that.
Okay, okay, particularly on knowing about, see, now crypto is driven a lot by news, right? Uh, now, for example, there is this news which came on the US government planning to tax high net worth individuals. Suddenly, the market reacted badly to that, right? So, ideally, in an investment perspective, it is very, very important to know the news, right? What's happening? If it's good to know, be the first one to know the news. So, tracking the Twitter handles of these coins are very, very important here. Apart from this, I know there are some news websites that I'll ping, the CoinDesk or cryptonews.com, which are really good to track. They also keep writing about, what are the support levels which are there, what is driving this, so you will get a lot of technical analysis from these guys as well in their news as well. So these two could be really good the websites to start with.
Sounds good.
That's the thing that even, yeah.
Any other question? I'm going to ask one question. Anything for us as users? Is there a referral code? Christy was asking if when signing up there is a referral code option. Is there something that we can get as a goodie, right? Like maybe for our audience, Bitcoins, etc. In general.
It was planned, but the idea came up at the last moment, and I was not able to pull it off. Right? Maybe if you have the email IDs of people who had subscribed, maybe I can send them a good surprise to their mail IDs.
Cool. I think Vignesh can handle that.
Perfect.
Vignesh,
Thanks.
I hope we'll have something. Great. Any further questions, guys? Any last question? We can take a snap if people can probably, whoever is comfortable, put on your videos and we will take a screen share snap.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask one more thing, but this is more like gambling only. I mean, there's just gamble going on here and there. All that money is getting used, like what Hari had asked initially.
See, that's now every crypto. That's why I was saying has been associated with some use case, right? Now, when these use cases start seeing light, it's when these cryptocurrencies start gaining some value. Now, why would unnecessarily an institution go and park their treasury? Because they see that there is some future use case that these guys are going to start showing. So currently, it is in a price discovery phase. Let's just see that right now. When gold at first came into being, there would have been a lot of price discovery that would have happened, right? Similar to that, there is a price discovery that is happening. That's why the markets, they're very, very volatile. But there would come a phase wherein the price discovery is over, the market starts stabilizing much better than whatever it is now. At that point, it might not look like how it looks like a gambling or a speculative asset or whatever it is.
But only like, let's say 100 varieties of cryptos. A few of them may just go away like that. Now, how do we track them? I mean, we invested somewhere and it's just gone.
Correct. See, that's why I was saying it's better to start with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and stick to top 10. The top 10 is more of a validation that there is a large community that has already been formed. A lot of people are talking about the pros and cons of it. If it had a very big con, right, you'd find a lot of news about that. Whenever you read about it, let's say Ripple, for example, right? Ripple is a cryptocurrency, but not a lot of people like that cryptocurrency, right? So you will find a lot of news about that. You can make your judgment that should I go invest in them or not. So my suggestion is stick to top 10.
Have some people gone just like that? Has
Sorry.
it happened? some cryptocurrencies have just vanished. Has it
See,
happened?
no, it has happened. That's
Yeah,
what
Pradeep ji, I think one point Narayanan is saying as well is worth noting, right? Like even in the equity world, we have a lot of small cap companies that come list, have shareholders, and then they become penny stocks and vanish, right? Like so, it's upon us, buyer beware in that sense, right? Upon us to sort of pick the wheat from the chaff and sort of invest in good ones, do our due diligence, validate
No,
the
that's
prospective
actually
investment.
very good question, Vikram, because I want to take that now. I see a lot of projects. You know, what happens when people come into the crypto world? There could be a lot of projects that could be making a lot of noise. At the end of the day, when you look into that project, it would have been a general MLM project, a multi-level marketing project. Nothing much would be there into it. So this actually, I take it as an opportunity and say, now, when you all start looking into cryptocurrency, first thing, when you try to just read a bit about that product, at least 5-10 minutes. When you see any form of is just having a structure, like you add 2 more guys, you get free tokens, you add 2 more, like a multi-level marketing chain. When you see something like that, you can right away go and say that, okay, this is not something that you will be wanting to invest in. That's a good way to start. That's a good question you asked, because I'm seeing a lot of people, what happens, a lot of noise will happen around a particular coin, but this noise would not be the right noise. If it's an MLM coin, don't invest in it. Even if they show a good track record of the last 2 years, it has done well and anything, because at the end of the day, when it matures, they're just going to crash badly. That's the whole model of how an MLM works, right?
That's good. Okay. Thank you.
Great, guys. Any further questions? Otherwise, we'll officially close it, and then people can sort of informally continue. No hard stop on that. As long as Vikram is available, we can continue. Vikram, how much more time do you want to?
I actually have one more meeting right after this, Hari. I almost postponed it for another half an hour because it was exciting to do it. I think,
Great.
Sorry about that. I think if there's any queries, please ping me or call me. I'll definitely respond to you guys. If even I'm not available, I'll find someone in my team to get in touch with you.
Absolutely, Vikram. It's been great talking to you. I think a fabulous sort of coverage of multiple aspects that we did, from macro to sort of some tidbits and overall guidance on where to look at, etc. Obviously, this is a very vast subject. It can't be sort of delivered in one day in one session. But at least I hope this initiates our actionable interest and we start doing something about this, whether we want to read further, whether we want to test out by participating in a small way, or even having further such discussions, etc. I think any of this would be a great outcome of this evening well spent. Great. Thank you once again, everybody, and appreciate your presence and your valuable time. I hope this was helpful, and look forward to being in touch again.
Thanks a lot.
And thanks a lot, Vikram.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
A lot.
Pleasure hosting you.
Thanks a lot, Hari. Thanks a lot, Vikram. It was phenomenal. It's a very, very vast topic, but I felt people would have definitely got a wealth of information, and I'm very sure that there'll be more people taking up to Bitcoin, probably in a much more informed way. So that's the very idea behind it. Thanks for accepting to do this, and Hari, you played a wonderful role of asking very pertinent questions, and I'm sure people here have a lot of takeaways. They have, and a lot of read-ups as well, because I see a lot of jargons being belted out like, and my name, so all fabulous things. I'm sure people have been initiated the right way, and from BITSAA Chennai, we wish you a successful journey, and with the participants. We will share across to the people, and probably whatever goodie you want to share, that's something you can take it up there. And for the rest of the audience, thanks a lot. You guys have been very inquisitive, a lot of interesting questions you've been posed. I'm very sure that you've learned a lot from this session, and we will be happy to host in an upcoming session in our next big thing quite shortly. So we'll keep you posted, and thanks a lot for joining. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Vikram. Happy to let you go for your next meeting. Hopefully not too late. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks all of you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the insights and inputs. Bye, guys.